Well, if you've ever tried to make a call at a busy sporting event, you know how jammed up the cell phone network can get. Now imagine having that problem if you're a first responder trying to get in contact during an emergency. A nationwide cellular network aims to solve that problem. It's called FirstNet, and the first city in Indiana recently announced its emergency responders will join the network operated through AT&T. Lindsay Wright is here with more, but it's a bit more complicated than that, Lindsay.
Yeah, networks, data, these are things most of us use every day through our smartphones or tablets, but don't think much about. But first responders also use cell and radio networks, and they become congested, especially during large-scale emergencies. One tragic event in particular led responders to realize they needed better communication tools. Terrorist attacks on 9/11 required assistance from thousands of emergency responders. And one thing became abundantly clear: they couldn't really communicate all that well.
9/11 created an awareness. And the 9/11 Commission report came out and said public safety needs expanded bandwidth and their own bandwidth. And so that was the push to get there.
Over the years, government officials worked to improve radio systems for first responders, and FirstNet efforts launched in 2012. The 25-year project gives local agencies priority on an AT&T cellular network. Governor Eric Holcomb announced Indiana would opt in to the deal made with AT&T.
Opt-out meant that if we did not accept the state plan, the state of Indiana had to come up with its own plan and not only address the technology that would be needed and build it out across the state, but also accept all the financial responsibilities that went with it too.
All 50 states opted in. The city of Noblesville is the first in Indiana to join the FirstNet network. On the surface, the goal is simple: enhance communication between emergency personnel.
It's almost like a separate cellular system. So here's the public cellular system, here's our cellular system, and we get priority. So it will drop the public before it drops us.
Here's how it works. The more people using a cell tower in a particular area, the more congested it gets, and it can only handle so many concurrent users. Emergency responders are fighting for space on the network as well. FirstNet assures those responders always have space, meaning they have priority over public users. Fire Chief Greg Wyant says it made sense for Noblesville to jump on board for a few reasons.
We're already using AT&T products across the board as a city. There was no reason to wait. They're ready for us to sign on. Let's do it. So we did.
But the Noblesville-Hamilton County area also draws significant crowds regularly. There's Conner Prairie and the Ruoff Music Center. In the summer, this lot is jam-packed with vehicles as music lovers crowd into the venue. That alone can cause capacity issues, even if it's not an emergency situation.
Concert goers will frequently stream live from a concert. That takes up a lot of bandwidth with a lot of people doing that. So it really decreases the capability of other people being able to get on the network and use it.
AT&T is investing around $40 billion to add new cell towers across the country. But costs for local agencies should remain comparable if they already use a cell plan. Noblesville Mayor John Ditzler says under FirstNet, the city won't need any additional funding.
There are no additional tax dollars going in to get this benefit. Our rates, if you will, with AT&T are what they were, but we were just fortunate enough to get this added benefit and would hope that others would follow.
Only a handful of cities around the country are participating in the network so far. Vice says it's going to take time for some agencies to transition. He says communications equipment can be a pricey venture, and for some, it may not be the priority right now.
There's a number of agencies that don't pay for cell phones now for their public safety people. If they're not doing it now, they're probably not going to jump onto this right away until they can figure out a mechanism to pay for, those opportunities.
But officials say agencies need to get on board for the project to truly succeed.
If we have people that aren't participating in the system, we lack interoperability. So this has been a process. It's like anything else in government or in public safety. It's a process, right? And we're getting far along in the beginning of the process, but we're still in the beginning.
So Lindsay, you said in the story 25 years to complete this project. What does that entail, and is it really going to take that long?
Well, we're already 6 years in because Congress passed this effort in 2012. But officials say this isn't just about a public safety cell network. It's meant to be a breeding ground for innovative ideas focused on public safety specifically. But how to use advanced smartphone technology, for example. You know, you and I use mobile applications like Twitter, Instagram, but first responders could also use mobile apps that could help them in emergency situations. So it sounds like ideas like that could play out over this process.
So they've done a lot already in 6 of, well, the 25 years. I guess what's the next step now? Over
the next few years, new cell towers and antennas are going to be built out. The federal government is contributing about $6 billion to help with increasing communication efforts. But state officials say one of the benefits of this being a public-private partnership is the FirstNet network can be used now. There are currently cell towers up. So over the course of time, there will be enhancements and new investments to that.
All right, very interesting. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome.